Okay. So, how's everybody? I know, been a couple weeks. I was in Jackson Hole snowboarding, which was awesome. And then last week we had the whole water heater blowout, which got fixed. Cheers. And, but stoked to be back here. Let me plug a little camera in here, aka the telly, so that I don't lose you guys in the middle of this, because that would just not be cool. Just disappeared on you out of nowhere. You're like, what the hell happened? He just fucking shut it off. What a dick. I gotta try not to cuss, because the algorithm has been marking my videos as like inappropriate and shit, so they don't like that. There it goes. I think it's working. Alright. I was trying on iTunes. I'm gonna do that. Okay. So, you Juan Mexicana. I like that. Joe Martra, what up? Mondre Zachary. Cheers. Yeah, good to be back with you guys. People showed up, so it's gone for a little while. So, you guys are here hanging out. So Tristan wants to know if bars are friendly surf spots around SD coming from LA next weekend. Every good surfer never tells. No, it depends on where you're at. There's basically spots all up and down the county depending on where you're living. So yeah, I'd say wherever you're at, just drive to the beach and there will be spots close by. The main known spots are like in the La Jolla area, North County, like far North County area, South Orange County area, and then of course you have Mexico right by. So anyway, we'll get to bartending because I know nobody cares about surfing other than us probably. Exovasi, have you worked in any bars within the UK? I have never worked outside of the United States. So, and I always try to preface that, like when I'm doing videos about comparing the U.S. to other areas, I don't really know because I've never really been there. I've been to bars outside of the country, but I've never worked in any. So I do know that the preparation, the training over there is a little more robust, and I'm not quite sure about what the official licensing is. And I know that they're like, as far as I know, the actual bartending schools that are here started from Europe because they're way more robust and they're very much like a kind of a mixology type, very fundamental in terms of their tasting and flavor characteristic pairings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I haven't worked over there. Mondre Zachary, what are your thoughts on offering margarita machine rentals? Now there's a random business idea that I've never thought of. I would say do your homework about, it's like any business, you have to do your homework about the market, which is like everybody who buys and sells within that world. So the people that buy shit and the people that sell stuff or rent stuff. Are there other people renting stuff? If not, and there's a demand, that's a good thing. But if there's not, it could be because there's no demand and you might not make any money. But if it sounds like you're already kind of got the ball rolling and you might know about that. So that's just like any other business. If it sounds fun and you can make your little niche, then go for it. Obviously, if you're talking about the liquor accompanying it, then yeah, you don't want to provide that. You're just providing the machine and then let them do the other thing. Otherwise, you're talking about putting on parties and hosting booze, and that's a whole other can of worms that you need to worry about in terms of liabilities. So yeah, Miss Nat Hunter. Yeah, I know, long time no see. I've been in and out. I tried to come last week, but my damn water heater blew up or started leaking all over the place, and we had to. Sarah, David, Chris, Kra. You. I don't know if I wouldn't claim myself as the best bartender ever. I don't ever. But I just have been doing this for a long damn time, and I feel like I uh, have seen a lot of the industry, so that's why I do this, because there's not many questions that I feel like I can't answer. So that's pretty much why I do this channel. Cool. So, thank you. Nice hat, Juan. Yep. One of these days I'll have them available for you guys. Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'll never get that figured out, but maybe, hopefully I will. Stokey, you've learned a lot. Sarah David, Chris Kraft. And nice, you're surpassing other bartenders you work with who's been in the industry for years. Sweet. Good on you. Good job. Justin Malou, watching this at work right now. Wish I was a bartender. Low barriers to entry, my friend. Nothing's holding you back. You just got to do it. Of course, easier said than done, right? But I have faith in you that if you really wanted to do it, you could do it. So Catherine Arce just started bartending at a Latin restaurant and absolutely no experience. Any tips on how to get over the fear of being behind the bar? Yes. So that's why I need to pull up my other. I forget to need to pull up my playlists because I have a whole bunch of videos and playlists already made that I usually reference through these things to help you guys get going, and I can, instead of kind of answering similar questions from week to week, I can kind of just point you at the playlist. So, like in the, I believe it's, I think it's the Bartending 101 video playlist. I have a one of my older videos, but still one of my favorites. Let's see, it's like how to work a busy shift. No, what do I have that in? The working bartender? I changed these playlists and I moved the videos around because I try to reorganize them in a way that I think makes logical sense for someone who doesn't know me or my videos. Well, where the hell? Where did I put it? Did it get deleted from the playlist here? I thought it was in the Bartending 101. Where did I? Oh yeah, so it's in the Bartending 101 playlist. So you can go look that up. There's one called Staying Calm, Working Busy Shifts in the Bartending 101 playlist. And I think that's one of my first few videos I ever shot. So it's pretty low quality and the audio sucks, but it's still super valid, and everything in there I say is anything I would say today. So go check that out. Stay calm, working busy shifts. Even though that's kind of slanted for people that are working busy shifts because they're in a more established restaurant or establishment, there's still a bunch of stuff in there about like staying calm and stuff. And really the main thing is just realizing that you're just there talking to people. You're just facilitating a good time. Like a lot of times as a bartender, when you're brand new, you feel that it's about us and that we're like actors or something. Like we're there to put on a show, and that they're going to grill us with a bunch of questions about like what's in all these drink recipes and what's the history of the alcohol and all that shit. And like that doesn't happen. You're just there talking to people, you're just talking about normal everyday stuff, and then in the meantime you'll give them a beer or a cocktail, which is usually very basic, and then just kind of being personable and talking to them. I mean, the hardest part about being a good bartender is just being able to just realizing that it's not about us, it's just talking to them. And I know some of you guys have heard this one a bunch of times, but my favorite startup line is just like, hey, what are you guys up to today? Or what are you up to today? What are you doing? And just get them talking, and then just ask them questions about what their day or their life is, and then you get them talking. And there's a psychological thing that happens to us when we talk about ourselves. It makes us feel good because humans are just very ego-driven creatures. So just work on that. You'll be fine. And realize that you don't have to put on a show, and you'll be all good. Leah Contreras. Yeah, I know. It's been a while since I've been doing these live ones, so I'm working on it. Noelle Smith. What's up, girl? It's Jib. What's a good drink menu to have for for mobile bartending? Mm. Okay, so that's the other thing I have. There's a little list of kind of the top 10 most popular drinks, and I know that I have it. Where did I put it? I thought I had it on my desktop right here. I got a little list. Hold on. I should put. Let me see here. Cocktail cheat sheet. No, that's not it. Most common drink list. Okay. So here's a good. It's Jib. I almost called you Mr. Jib. Hopefully you don't mind that. Here's a list of some of the most common drinks. Now, this will depend on where you work. With you for mobile bartending, that's more like private party gig stuff. So in that regard, go watch. I have a video called, how to get started in 48 hours. It's in the How to Become a Bartender playlist, or you can just look up the video How to Become a Bartender in 48 Hours. And that's all talk about how it's just you're going to talk to the doing the party with, and it's usually going to be a very basic menu. So if you're there a menu that you can have for like or something that people are hiring, then here's a good list of just kind of basic common drinks: martini, Manhattan, a Collins, like a you can have a sour in there, like a whiskey sour, just like sours. Long Island, margarita, old fashioned, like some classics. Um, what else we got? Mojito, white and black Russian, or usually white Russian is the more popular one. Moscow Mule, Cosmopolitan, Bloody Mary, and then a couple of beer and wine options. And that's a really comprehensive list. Those are also kind of the most common drinks that you're going to make. You can also throw some a tiki drink like a Mai Tai or a pina colada in there if you want. And let's see here, making a note. Pina colada. Okay, now I'm getting hot, so I'm gonna take this off. So that's a good list, but when you're, yeah, so that's a good starting list. Okay, Wander Zachary. Also thinking about offering bartending classes on an amateur level and see what kind of feedback I get. Think about offering bartending classes. What do you, Wander Zachary? What was your earlier point that did I miss something? Cheers. What are your thoughts on offering margarita machine rentals? Oh, so margarita machines and bartending basics. Sweet, go for it. Tell them if they need any basics, they can come watch my videos. No, but yeah, go for it, man. Make $1 million any way you can. Route 8 Angel. Been a bartender on and off for years. My friends say he had a B52, disgusting, as a cocktail. How would you rock that? I can't picture it due to my stomach turning. What do you mean, like he didn't like it? B52 is it's like a dessert cocktail, right? So you don't want to have a whole lot of those things. And like most of those sweet drinks that that have like Bailey's, and it's basically just it's Bailey's, Kahlua, and Grand Marnier most of the time, right? So if you don't like that stuff, then I don't know, but that over the rocks is, you can do it as a shot. It layers pretty well, but it's good over the rocks, and it's just a sipping dessert. So that's not like a drink that I would go out and just like hammer those down all night. That's gonna kick you in the head really hard the next day. But I hope that answers your question. Nick Hingston, hanging from the UK. I work for Bar Revolution Cocktails. Right on, buddy. I'm sorry I don't know that bar, but that's cool, bud. Where are you in the UK? What's your club? Who do you follow? I love talking to my European friends and pissing them off when I tell them who my club is for footy that I follow out there. Leah Contreras, do you have some favorite shooters that you recommend to customers? I'm about to start working at a bar that's like a mini nightclub. You gotta stay on top of kind of what's popular. What's honestly is like our place, when I first started working there, it was more late nights, like very much party scene. It's a place that I used to go like when I was in my party 20s, in my 20s, my party 20s, in my 20s, in my party days. And it used to be more like shots and stuff. And now we're like, because I work in a restaurant, it's like I call it a dive bar attached to a restaurant, basically. Now our business, for a whole bunch of reasons that I'm not going to go into, is more early. So it's like happy hour and dinner type stuff, and then a little bit of late night. Not a whole lot. To be honest, I haven't top of a super popular shooter scene as of late. Now, I will update that because I'm going to start shooting a bunch of shooter videos pretty soon. But it's the same thing with cocktails too. It depends on where you're working and what's already popular for your clientele that's coming in. Like if it's young kids, it's just going to be, basic fireball shots and simple shooters. Um, so I would say to just kind of ask your fellow working bartenders what they make on a regular basis, right? Because you're not. Do you have some favorite shooters you recommend to customers? Because it's not about us telling them what they want. It's about them telling us what they want. So if you are like, if you just want to have a couple that are kind of like, if somebody goes, hey, like, what's a good shooter? Then it's kind of one of those things with cocktails. I'll just ask them, like, well, what do you normally drink? What are the flavors that you like? Because if it's somebody like back up with Route 8 Angel and they like fruity stuff and I make them a B52, they're not going to like that, right? Because the B52 is kind of creamy and chocolatey and stuff like that. So if they like something fruity, then you'd want to make them, like a gummy bear shooter, right? So you want to have a couple of, I would say, figure out a couple of kind of creamy, chocolatey ones and a couple of fruity ones. Maybe just a couple of disgusting, really strong ones for fun. Strawberry woo. Yeah, the woos are still popular. Nice. All right. So, I guess stuff doesn't change a whole lot. On my bartending blueprint website, I have a whole list of shot recipes. I think there's like 100 and fuck, what do I got on there? Let me pull it up real quick. If you go to the bartending, I can't type. I'm on the wrong side of the keys here. Bartendingblueprint.com. And under the free lessons, you'll see drink recipes and there's shot recipes. And there's over 100 shooters on here. I think it said 101, but it's actually like 150 or 120 something, I think. But there's a ton of just basic shooters, and you just click on the names, and it'll give you the name or the ingredients and how much you put in there. So go check out the Bartending Blueprint website and go to drink recipes and shooters, and there's a bunch in there. So it'll give you some ideas about some real, and those are just real basic, quick, shooter styles. But to give you some ideas of, okay, like what do you got in there? I'm not going to read them all off. There's too many of them, but they're alphabetical order. I did do that. The hell is that for some great organization skills? Okay, tangenting. Let's go back here before I get too far behind on the questions. Let's see. Carl Ryan. Wait. Leah, did I answer your question? Yeah, okay, I think so. Carl Ryan, I just got just completed bar school academy and I got my diploma. How would you present this to an employer with never having bartended? So the ugly truth about bartending schools is it doesn't really hold a lot of water in terms of, it doesn't all of a sudden go, oh, you have experience because you went to school. They still look at you as not having any experience. So they do appreciate that you've done the effort and that you've educated yourself a little bit, but there's still nothing that can replace actual experience. So you can do one of two things. One, you can just straight lie on your resume and lie your way in there. But if you get yourself in over your head doing that, then you're not going to have a job very long. Or you can start in another position and work your way up. That's how most people get started. That's how I got started. Well, I got hired knowing I was going to be a bartender, but I didn't really start. I guess I kind of started bartending right away, but I got thrown to the fire, and it was pretty ugly for the first few shifts, but you figure it out. So anyway, you can start in another position, letting them know that your intentions are to move up. And if you get in and you are a dedicated employee and you do a good job and you help other people outside of what your job is, right? So like if you say you got a job as like a busboy or something, and you help, they call you one night, it's like, holy shit, the dishwasher is sick. Can you cover his shift? If you say yes, that's huge, because people in this industry are really lazy and they don't go the extra mile beyond. It's like, that's not my job, I'm not going to do that. So if you can do stuff like that, then you will become a very valuable employee that will get promoted faster. So unfortunately, and this is why I'm not a huge fan of bartending schools, they don't work in terms of offsetting your lack of experience, unfortunately. So I always tell people that are looking at bartending school, what they're good for is giving you some basic knowledge about the industry and pouring and whatnot, and helps you feel comfortable because you feel like you've kind of done it, right? Even though I say that nothing replaces the actual thing, it still gives you a little bit of a kind of a test run to sort of feel like you've done it a little bit. So if it's worth that confidence that it gives you, then that's why I always am not completely against bartending schools, right? It's just being realistic about what they offer. Okay, so Root 8 Angel. Back to the B52 thing, you had it as a cocktail instead of a shot, as it's usually served. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, whatever. You can shake it, strain it, and it's still creamy. It's just if you don't prefer those flavor characteristics. I mean, it's like Bailey's, Kahlua, and Grand Marnier. Those are pretty tasty. They're going to be sweet, but, there's nothing wrong with not liking it. I can make the best drink in the world, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. So, if you aren't into it, then, or he's not into it, then no big deal. I'm not going to call the B-52 police. Nick Hingston. Revolution is a big company in the UK and expanding very fast. Okay, I will do my homework about learning about them. Maybe, I hope. Or, that's good to know. I should know about that. But actually, at the same time, it's like, I'm never going to be in the UK. But that's cool. I mean, that's good that you're into that company that's growing, because that's going to offer you a lot of opportunities. So that's the good thing about that. Strawberry woo-woo, very popular in the UK. Yeah, there's a couple of woo-woo drinks. I think I got a couple on my the shooter thing here. I just got the standard woo-woo. The woo-woo! What's this one? This recipe. Vodka Chambord cranberry. I don't know if that's how you make it. That's the one. That's the recipe that I have up. So I guess that would be like kind of a raspberry woo-woo. Strawberry is kind of a hard flavor to get in bars for some reason. I don't know if I might have one here. Let me see what I got. We got raspberry, orange, peach, standard triple sec, melon, apple, cream, peppermint, butterscotch. Yeah, I don't have any strawberry. I think I actually looked for some the other day at the Bevmo, but I couldn't find any. We all have the top brands in alcohol, including all the famous ones like David Beckham's. Yep. Yeah, there's so many celebrities that have their own brands of liquor and stuff. Out here in the States, a real popular one is tequila. So like, what's his name? George Clooney. He had the Casamigos, which he just sold for like $2 billion. Or like $4 billion or something. It was like in the billions. So it's if you can get a good liquor label with good distribution, you can sell it to one of the big boy distributors and make a lot of money. So yeah, I feel like I'm talking fast tonight. I'm on top of all these questions for once. This is a new thing. I'm usually way behind on these. You got Chuck in the deep end at Christmas. Hey, that's sink or swim. That's what happened to me. So I got hired at a place, and basically I started bartending right away, I guess, but I only had one shift, and then my other shifts were, what else did I do? I was a busser in a food restaurant. So I started like in another place that also was a restaurant, and yeah, the first couple of shifts I just was like in the service well, hiding, and it was Sundays was the day that I worked on, and we always worked with 2 bartenders at that place at the time. And usually there's like, you know, 2 of them on. You kind of do everything. So you work the well, like usually somebody covered the well, but then you turn around and help the guy in front as much as you can. And I was just so scared and like didn't know what the hell I was doing, and it was taking me forever to make the drinks. And I remember I think it was my first or second shift, the guy that I was working with was like, "Hey man, I need your help up here. I'm getting killed." And I was just so stressed out. I couldn't get caught up, because this was in the like early 2000s when everything was just booming. At least over in the U.S., the economy was going. I think everywhere was super busy back then. But anyway, the economy was going Richter, so everybody thought they were rich because they were just pulling money out of their houses left and right. At least around here in Southern California, and just it was party nonstop. Everybody was making hand over fist dollars. But anyway, we're super busy. I couldn't help the poor guy. So after the second shift like that, he went to the manager. He's like, "I don't know about this guy." But luckily I ended up figuring it out within a few shifts. And then, yeah, sometimes just getting thrown into the deep end is the best way to go. You figure it out. Strawberry puree. Yeah, I do that too, like at actual work. I was saying in terms of my little studio bar here, I have pumpkin spice. What other cool stuff? Like Fireball, Jägermeister, Frangelico, cherry brandy. Yeah, really strawberry. And I don't really want to go make strawberry puree, but that's what I use at work. Is I have a strawberry puree, mango puree. I've been doing everything. Good. It's good, and that's the other thing that's good about working up from other positions. Is it's not only you show you know, that you're a valuable employee, but you figure out the whole industry of, so to speak. You figure out all the positions. So you will become a valuable asset to the establishment, but also others. And it also, I mean, God forbid you want to kind of go backwards, but you are getting experience that is a life skill that down the road, who knows, maybe you have to do that again to stay alive. Hopefully not very long, but you have that skill and you know it. So that's the other thing that's good about starting in lower positions and moving up, is you learn more positions. You become more intelligent about the industry in general. And after doing this, and I know a couple of people have asked me in some of the older live streams I've done, is like, would I ever open a bar? And I've never really actually thought about, I've thought about it, but I've never really seriously wanted to open my own bar, just for personal reasons and stuff. But if I did, I would definitely know how to run an establishment without a doubt. The only thing I don't really know how to do is, like, I couldn't jump behind the line and start cooking like in a kitchen. Like if I had to do that, it would be fucked, because I haven't this. I mean, I'm not actually pretty good cook at home, but when you're talking about a restaurant, no way. I wouldn't. I hadn't the slightest. I had a prep cook job. This was actually way before I was bartending. This was like when I was 15, up in Oregon, because you were allowed to drive with a learner's permit to a job and back if you had your employer and your parents' permission. So I actually got a job as a prep cook and a dishwasher when I was 15 years old, and but I didn't do anything other than make salads. That was it. And I worked. That was before I learned all the stuff that I just said about being a valuable employee, and I didn't stay in that job very long because I didn't like it, and I was just a lazy teenage punk. And I'm like, this dishwashing stuff sucks. But back to my modern bartending positions, I have covered a bartending shift, a dishwashing shift, or at least for part of a shift at my old establishment, just because you got to be a team player. Okay, now you guys are firing off some questions, and I'm lollygagging on here. Let's see here. So back up, XOVAC. What sort of bars, clubs have you worked on throughout your career? Also, which would you recommend for starting out bartending? I've. It's funny you say that. I was thinking about that today. I've actually worked in pretty much everything. So I've worked in fine dining. I've worked in. I mean, and if you do, you're really lucky. But you basically just take the first gig that comes along, take any position that comes along, move up, get experience. Then you can stand on that and start to move into other positions and become a little more choosy about where you want to go. I know that kind of doesn't really answer your question, but I've also talked about before, and bear with me if you've heard this, but I prefer the restaurant style bars for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's just early. I don't like the late. That was the clubby place that I worked at. I did it for 2 weeks and then I left because I saw First Light twice leaving. Because the problem with working at clubby type places or places that are super busy late is you are going to be a vampire. Your whole sleeping patterns are going to be fucked up. You're going to be going home at 4 or 5 in the morning, sleeping till 1 and 2 in the afternoon. You know, and if you want to get 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, you're going to be sleeping into the afternoon. And so it turns you into a vampire. And I don't live to work. I work to live. And the way that I live my life, I can't do that because I like to be up early to surf. I like to go into the mountains. You know, I'm probably going to actually move back to the mountains here soon. So it's my lifestyle, the way that I like to live it, I need to be early. So the late night club thing didn't really work. Fine dining is what you want to work towards if you want to stay in this as a legitimate life. I don't want to say lifelong, but like a long-term career. Like if you want to do this into your later years, your 30s, 40s, and beyond, then the fine dining is going to be your best bet. It's also where you will make your best money. Now, of course, you can make ridiculous money at places like Vegas, but as I've said before, again, this is just the energy requirement to work at places like that is just 250% nonstop, and it will burn you out so quick. That's the other thing about the nightclub stuff. It's fun when you're young, right? And I have a blast doing that. And all the places that I worked at have been really busy, but the pool party in Vegas thing. If you work at a place that's super busy, then it's just non-stop. It's unrelenting. And day in and day out, it's like, yeah, you're fucking stacking money, but you're also just burning it from both ends, and it's really taxing on your health. So, the fine dining thing, if I was looking to stay in this industry long term, I would probably start gravitating towards that. But at the moment, I'm basically the bar manager, unofficial bar manager of my place. I make my schedule. I can, do basically whatever I want. I'm like the senior bartender at my place. So I like the restaurants because it brings people in for the food. So it's not just the drinking. And then if you're looking at a restaurant, you want to have a full liquor license because you can have liquor and beer and wine, but they might not serve hard alcohol, and that can be a little more difficult to make better money. So you want to be able to make sure that they have a full liquor license. And then the food brings people in, so it's more consistent, in my opinion, right? It's just around here, to each their own. And so that's why I like the restaurants. So that's my personal preference. But it's kind of hard to find that, right? I also understand that the restaurant side of the industry can be more corporate and can be not as exciting, No offense to anybody if they work at Chili's, but like a Chili's bartender, it's a pretty kind of sterile gig, maybe? I mean, I don't know. It depends on where you live. Chili's might pop off other parts of the country. I have no idea. But like around here, they're kind of sleepy, just in terms of because of the privately owned restaurants. There's more of a foodie scene, I guess. So it's up to you, but when you're first starting out, take the first thing that comes along, stand on that, get experience, and then figure out where you want to go from there. Shots. All right. Okay, now I'm starting to tangent. Get behind a little bit of questions. All right. Nick Kensington, your best bet to start off with somewhere smooth. Beginner, yeah. Anything that'll give you a job when you're first starting out. Yeah, starting small. But at the same time, like the place that I started at, it was fucking busy. It was not small. I mean, it wasn't like a huge bar where there was 5 people behind the bar, and there was just hundreds of people, nightclub style or anything. But it was really busy. So that's why I say it's probably going to be a more basic situation your first go round. But at the same time, like, don't be afraid that you should still be applying at the bigger places that you want to work at. And even if you don't get in there, you want to start to get to know the managers and the people that work there and start to cultivate relationships so that they know who you are. And then you never know. They might offer you a chance. Fire Blend Ice, hello! Everything's going great. Holy crap, it's already 10 to 8 already? Man. Making sure stocks is kept on top of. Yeah, barback is a good anarcho-autism. Barback is the closest one step away job that you can start at. For sure. Or did you say bareback? Were you meaning something else? Heather May, do you know of any fun little games, apps, or online to learn new drink recipes? I work catering, so I never have a full bar to work with. I don't. See, the problem with me is I've done this for so long that I'm not on the cutting edge of what you guys are using to learn. I know my craft. I've done it forever. I could kind of walk in anywhere and handle it. So if I was smart, I would come up with something and put it on my website. I don't have that right now, but technology is making that type of stuff easier and easier. So I don't know. I'll keep my eyes out. I am actually about to update some stuff on the back end of it, and so I dig into kind of some technology things when I do that. So I'll see what I can find. But as far as I know, the apps that I've seen are pretty not that cool. And the thing to remember is when you're starting out, this is not about the drinks. This is about the personal interactions. You don't need to know 200-300 drinks. You're never going to make them. So don't waste your time trying to memorize a bunch of shit you're never going to use. Unless you just want to be an encyclopedia of drinks, which that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But most of the time, like that list that I read off earlier, I'll read it again. Get to know, and you can go back and watch this later and rewind it again if you want. But I have this list. I rattle this off in a lot of these live streams. But the most common drink list. Know how to make a martini, basic classic martini, Manhattan, a Tom Collins, a Long Island, margarita, Mai Tai, Pina Colada, Mojito, White Russian, Black Russian, Moscow Mule, Cosmopolitan. Did I say Old Fashioned? Old Fashioned, Bloody Mary. That kind of sounded like a long list, but I think that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's like 15 drinks. So it's not too bad when you say 15 drinks. If you get that list down, and then just be aware of anywhere you work at, of other drinks that might be popular, you're going to be pretty damn solid, because most of your bartending is going to be real basic, 2-part self-explanatory, vodka, soda, rum and coke drinks. I know everybody thinks when they're learning this skill, there's like, I got to learn all these crazy drinks because people are going to throw it. It's like, people don't drink all that shit. Every once in a while. And if they usually drink those ones that you don't know, have never heard of, they'll know what's in it, and they'll be able to tell you. So don't ever be afraid to just go like, you know what, I don't know that one. Can you tell me what's in it? How do you make it? I say that sometimes. Because sometimes it's just a random drink that they got from a place, they went to a place that made it up and put it on their menu, and then they think that that's like a worldwide known cocktail, but it's not. It's just something that place made. Or if it's an old classic that you don't know, like a Godfather or something, right? Which is, Scotch Drambuie, I believe. I don't even know. You never make them. They're not that common. So you don't need to know old school drinks like that, or, a million random fucking drinks. So don't worry about learning your drinks. Learn the industry, learn how to read people, and learn that as a bartender you're part of a business and how you can be an asset to that business, and that will be time way better spent than trying to memorize a bunch of drink recipes. And if any of you guys know an actual app that is good for learning drinks, then share it off. Like Leah, there you go. By the way, download the app Quizlet flashcard app. Oh yeah, I use that for school. They have like drink recipes on that. And they had a category for cocktails, liquor, shooters. Test yourself. There you go. Bam. Quizlet. Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff on there. Sweet. Julian Christensen, what up? Fire Blend Ice. My favorite bars are high quality speakeasy with soft music, not too crowded, and bartenders that love to speak about their craft and share knowledge. Have you worked in such a place? The craft place that I worked at was sort of like that, except that it wasn't. I guess the bartenders love to speak about their stuff, but again, it's not about us. Like if the customer comes in and the customer is all jacked up about talking about that shit, then sweet, then it's great. But I postulate that I don't think people go to a bar to listen to the bartender yap about how much shit they know. Just my personal opinion. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, that if you love doing that kind of a shit, that's great. But when I worked there, I knew, we had like a professional mixologist, like a guy, like my buddy Kevin, that I'm trying to get him. He lives on the East Coast, and he's so fucking busy all the time. He just got married, or he's getting married. He was just doing a bunch of weddings this summer because friends, it's that time of life where everybody's getting married. And but he is he's the head mixologist for Pernod Ricard, which is a huge label. And so anyway, we had a guy like that came in, and taught us the basics of like mixology and flavor pairings and the ingredients and all that kind of shit. So you had that knowledge, but I never used it never came out beyond explaining what the drinks were that people were having. They never asked me to explain the flavor characteristics, spectrums of the alcohols or the base and the modifier and this and that or anything like that. So, me personally, I just, I do this job because it's convenient and it's fun, but it's not, I will actually say it's not my passion, which sounds really silly. And that's why I say that I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. It's not my passion. It's a lot of fun. I have a blast doing it, and it's a great job, and that's why I've done it for fucking creeping up on 20 years here. Because it's so fun, and it's so hard to find another job that you could find this type of flexibility in terms of being able to make quick money, when you need to go work. But I'm not passionate in that regard of terms of just being the speakeasy guy. So to each their own. And I have worked in a place in that, but the reason I left was for other completely different reasons. It had to do with the owner and management and moral issues and other stuff. So, but those types of places are cool. I like going to hang out in zones like that just because of the mellow vibe, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the bartender's knowledge, in my opinion anyway. So, but that's cool. I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing on any of that stuff at all. Because honestly, you guys, if you work in that type of place, you probably know way more than I do, to be honest. So, Julian Christensen, I'm just in that same, but I don't know if I'll be able to get into the entry low. And that is a conundrum anywhere you go. How much do you need to know to get in there? And that's why it's who you know is more important than what you know sometimes when you're first starting out. Chep lips. It's been like hot, like summertime out here. I don't know where the rest of you guys are, but it was freaking in the 80s the last 2 days around here. Southern California. Which sounds great and glorious, but ski season, man, all the snow's melting. So, Heather May, cool. You're welcome. All right, we're coming up on short time here, team. If you have any other pressing questions, start getting them out there now. Because we'll call it about a 10-minute countdown here. I would say 5, but I know I'm going to talk longer than that. I do. Amateur mixologist, and I love picking bartenders' brains. Yeah, man, that's great. For me, it's a hobby and a passion. See, that's cool. It's good. There's guys like you in the world. Sorry, fired by nice. I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe a girl. Sorry. Um, that's great. You know, if you're into it and that's your passion, that's why that has become an entire industry in and of itself. It's almost separating from bartending. And that's why I want to. That's why I want to interview my buddy Kevin that works for Pinot Ricard because he's a master mixologist and he makes a great living. You got to be able to drink a lot. I mean, he basically just like cruises around and drinks for a living, pretty much. You know, that dude drinks a lot. That's the other thing is like I'm not a big drinker. You know, honestly, um, I've had my party days in the past, but nowadays I'll have like 2, 3 beers, and that's like ooh, that's partying for me anymore. The gaming noob, Jason. How long have you been online? Is applying around this time of year pointless? I've had many responses, and there's no positions open. Um, Online, I think I first made a website like 5 years ago, and just kind of put these up. I started making videos for when I worked at the bartending school for some of my students to watch after they left. And I never went into this intentionally going like, hey, I'm gonna be a YouTube guy. I want to be on, I just put it on here because I didn't want to pay for the streaming to my website. And then I have a bunch of recipes up there for my students. I made a bunch of the, random. You can go watch them. It's all the old. The playlist is called Dive Bar. Wait, what do I call it? What do I call it? It's called. I think it's called Dive Bar Drink Recipes. What do I call it? Yeah, Dive Bar Drink Recipes. Those are all my old ass videos that I made, and they had really, I'm awkward and uncomfortable on camera. It's pretty funny. Um, but I just kind of put those up there, and there was a bunch of them, and I didn't even pay attention. You can see my uploading schedule. There was points where I didn't upload for almost a year, like 6 months at a time, just because it's like I never really thought about doing this. And then it kind of, I went in there one day and I almost had like 10,000 subscribers. Like, holy shit! And then be a little more serious about it. And now, even though I'm still a bunch of different directions in my life outside of what you get, I still try to be diligent on top of contributing to this because I see that, and you guys all give me feedback and I appreciate it that you guys get value out of it, and so it's kind of a way for me to give back in the world in some way, in some weird twisted way. Okay, where are we at? Oh, I didn't answer your question, gaming noob. So playing around this time of the year is pointless. No, you have to just go with when you have to go. I mean, if there's nothing open, there's nothing open. But you gotta start applying. Start getting to know. Go watch the Getting the Job playlist that I have, and it's got a bunch of videos in there that talks about how to approach establishments and follow up and all that kind of building relationships is huge. That's more important than bottomless drink knowledge. It's relationships. So go watch those videos, the Getting the Job playlist and the Getting the Job mini series that I have, and there's a bunch of stuff in there that'll help you out. But you gotta if there's nothing open, then you just got to keep going and be open to start in another position. Let's see. Heather May got sick because the temperature changed this week. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's like tons of people sick all over the place. At least in San Diego County. I don't know about the rest of the country, but around here it's been really bad. We have so my wife teaches yoga, and she has a couple private clients, and one of her private clients is a doctor she's like a ear, nose, and throat doctor, and she's basically been canceling a bunch of her yoga classes lately just because she's been working overtime at the ER simply to deal with the flu epidemic that's happening around here. So wash your hands before you pick your nose or scratch your eyeballs. before you eat anything, everybody, because the flu is gnarly this season, and the one that's going around. You know, I have friends that are like in their 20s and they were down for 2 weeks. I mean, it is brutal. So you don't want to get that one. Okay, gaming noob. Also, how do you know how much to pour if someone asks for liquor on the rocks? Is it a 2 ounce or do you fill the glass? No, you definitely do not fill the glass. That comes down to talking to your establishment. Depends on the place. Like if you're in Utah, it's a 1 ounce pour. If in my bar, it's gonna be close to a 2 ounce pour. So it just depends on the establishment. Safe bet is an ounce and a half without going over, but I would clarify with your establishment for sure, because different places have different, parameters for that kind of an order. Do you need to attend a master class at different bars and learn? Oh, you guys are talking about something else without me. Pop an espresso martini glass. Couple ingredients: 25 Kettle One, Kahlua, Blizzard cacao, Mary Blizzard. I said Blizzard. Mary Blizzard, cacao, Rune, Funkin' Gum, espresso garnish, chocolate popping candy. That is a fancy drink, my man. I like that. Sounds dangerous and delicious. Espresso martini. My wife likes espresso martinis. I'll have to make her that version and see what she thinks. Although she wouldn't like it's Mary Blizzard cacao. So, maybe she would. She likes espressos with actual shots of espresso in them. So, like whenever we're up shredding in the mountains, that's like one of her favorite après drinks. She likes to get an espresso martini because it's like Mexican speedball. It brings you down, but it brings you up. We'll be watching those. All right, cool. Heather May. It's the same here in OC. Yeah, pretty much everywhere in the country. I don't know about the rest of the world, but the U.S. is just like infected with the flu right now. 130 people died of the flu in Washington State since October. Yep. I think there's almost 100. There's like almost 100 people that have died in San Diego County alone. Yeah. So anyway, somebody else throw out a good question so we don't end on talking about people dying from the flu, because that's not cool. But we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes here. Tink. How do you remember so many drink recipes? KK coupons. Heather May, Scotch or whiskey? Whiskey, bourbon. KK coupons. How do you remember so many drink recipes? You don't. That's what I was saying earlier. I rattled off a list of like 15 drinks. So kind of rewind it back after I'm done with this and go watch that. But you don't need to remember 200, 300 drinks. Completely pointless. What college or community college did you go to? I went to Miracosta Community College, and then I'm in my last semester at Cal State San Marcos in the College of Business studying entrepreneurship. I graduate in May. Whew. That's right. School nerd. Almost done. Almost done, people. And what am I going to do after that? I'm working on a couple products. One is like a funky, weird piece of equipment for a door frame when you travel to exercise with, which sounds really goofy, but it's pretty cool. It'll be a funny little, we'll be able to make super wacky infomercials about it. It should be fun. And then also, as I kind of mentioned briefly in passing earlier, might be moving back to the mountains. I'm from Oregon. Might be moving back to Oregon to go into the green business, because I have a buddy who's a head grower at a place in Northern California, and he knows the green thumb side and I know business side. So we're looking at a piece of property in Oregon, and if we can get that, then I know you guys don't want to hear that because you'd like me to keep doing these forever, but might be in my twilight years as a bartender. So we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. So I want to study that in LA, but not for school. You can repeat the names, please. Wait, D, what are you talking about? My schools were in Miracosta, which is in North County. It's like Encinitas area in San Diego. And then San Diego. It's just the Cal State system. So Cal State San Marcos, which has a really good business program that's part of San Diego State's business program. So you should make a bar for bar. You should make a bar for bar training. People could sign up to learn, and you could stream from it and teach online full time. I would like to. That's the whole point of like when I started my Patreon account and stuff, and it's really hard unless you have like I did the yes Nick keeps throwing out drink recipes. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you sharing all those. I did the basic math on what I make as a bartender versus like what I would have to make online, and for it to equal like what I make, you know, it kind of was like, oh, he's got almost 50,000 subs. That's a lot. It looks cool, but it doesn't equate to much on YouTube. I mean, I figured I would have to have about 300,000 subscribers to make what I make just as a bartender at my place. And I don't make a lot of money as a bartender, you know. I mean, I do okay, but I'm probably barely above the poverty line in terms of what I make. You know, I'm like around 40 a year ish. So, just from the bar, which, you know, since that's cool, keeps me alive, keeps me going. But, you know, I'm not buying mansions and shit, nor do I care. But, yeah, I'd love to teach full time, but it's just kind of hard. And the problem with that is that I can't take a break. The thing with being like a YouTube person is they live on this platform and they're posting shit every single day, and I don't have time for that because there's called what do they call it? It's a term in business. It's called gapping, closing the chasm, gapping the chasm. I'm completely blanking right now. My business professors will kill me. I think it's called gapping the chasm. And it's a point from where you're a newbie to where you're trying to become a professional. And so from me to be able to do that full time, I would need to quit my bar job. But I don't make enough yet to do that to be able to quit my bar job. And I can't have the time that I need to do it full time until I quit my bar job. And not to mention school. So there's this weird hard point that you come to. And that's why a lot of people that do this that are successful like live at home and shit and are like young. They don't have to have real jobs. They're kids. So some of the most successful YouTubers are kids. And so it's tough. I'd like to. And I probably will keep doing this for longer. Even if I move up to Oregon, I'll keep doing this until I really just can't. Just in terms of time-wise. So I'm not going anywhere yet. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere yet. Cool. All right. Gaming new patron. Thank you. And yeah, I'm going to actually pull up because we're almost done. And I need to start giving out because I haven't been making like traditional videos where I can do a little, you know, put your names up in here and show you. I need to start throwing out thank yous on here. Wait, what was that? Oh, I thought I had it's like, why is Pandora giving me commercials, but it's not. Wait, this isn't what I want. Okay, sorry. My computer was doing weird things there. So that's about it, everybody. I do want to show some love to my patrons, Sandy Odell, Marina Delaney, Benjamin Gerber, Gianfranco Ocampo. Sorry if that's you and I butchered your name. Beth Lynn Eicher, or Etcher. Beth Lynn Eicher. Thank you guys for supporting me. And for those of you that can't, I know, it's totally cool. It was just something that I was trying because I was trying to do this full time. But it's tough. And I know that you guys, the whole point of getting into bartending is because you generally are trying to make more money. You're usually young in school and, you know, just getting started in life. So totally cool. Just by watching this and, you know, giving me the little thumb up button kind of a thing or whatever is helping me enough. So I appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it here. Let's see. We got these last ones that just popped up. And those are the last questions. And what's your best tips for getting better tips as a bartender and server trained for bartender? Go watch KK Coupons. I have a playlist in. I have a video in. Let's see. I think it's called The Working Bartender, or you can just search. So split tips may change. No, let's see. I know I have a video. I just want to give you the right name. Because that's kind of a long question. I thought I had it on this playlist. Is it on Bartending 101? Let me see here. Let me just put these on one damn playlist, but then they're all just one damn playlist. Let's see here. Rude customers. Bartending. Maybe that's just in the Bartending Blueprint. Maybe I have that on my private member site. If that's the case, I need to do one for you guys. Hold on, I'm scrolling through my playlist here. See if I can find it to answer that question, because I swear I have that video. I have so many videos I don't know. Let's see, it's not in that one. I don't think it's in drinks open. Hang with me here for a second. Hang with me for 1 second. No, that's not it. What the hell, man? I thought it was in the Working Bartender. Let's see. Oh, how to make change to get better tips. Alright, so that's kind of a weird one. That's an older one. I should probably update that. It's really short. But you can check out the Working Bartender playlist. I have a video on there called How to Make Change to Get Better Tips. No, that's not going to be it. That's not it. That's not what you want. Never mind. I know what that is. That's not the one you want. Let's see here. And if I don't have this video up, I'll answer this question for you right here on the spot. Even though I said it was long, kind of an answer. Working Bartender. I guess I don't have that, huh? Okay. So, let's see here. What's on how to become a bartender? Nope. Okay. So, good to know. I'll make a note to myself. I'm going to make this video, because that's a good one that I should have for you guys. That I do have that, but it's in the Bartending Blueprint membership area, so I don't have it up on here yet. But here, let's see here. Where's my? I have a little list that's like a million it's 100 freaking videos long of like shit that I need to shoot. Where did I put it? You can hear video to shoot list. So let's put the how to increase your tips. Okay, I'm surprised I don't have that one. I thought I did, but I guess it's in the membership site. I gotta keep some stuff for my members, right? Because they're paying a little bit of something to support me. That's the other way you can support me, is being a member on there. But let's see here. Okay, so let me get back to your question here. Tips for blah 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 blah. Tips for getting better tips. The easiest thing to increase your tips is to increase the. It's like being a server. The bigger the tab, the bigger the tip. So if you can increase your tabs, then you're going to increase how much you're getting tipped on. The easiest way to do that is to upsell people into, just like if you're, it says you're a server, right? Yeah, I'm a server being trained for bartending. So it's the same thing. Hey, do you want appetizers? Do you want dessert type of shit? If they order, somebody's like, do you want that with sides? You add stuff on. With drinks, it's you basically just drag them up the chain from the cheap well stuff to trying to getting them into something better. The easiest thing to do, like if somebody orders a vodka soda, right? I'll just say, is there a certain vodka you prefer? And just that one simple line will almost, because if somebody said a vodka soda and you just turned around and made it without asking or clarifying, that means that you just make it with the well vodka and soda. But if you said, hey, is there a certain vodka you prefer? And they go, yeah, let me get Grey Goose. They all of a sudden upsold themselves past the call up to the top shelf, right? In most places, or depending, maybe that's your well, depending on where you work. But that's, that's definitely a notch or two up from the well, saying Grey Goose and soda. That went from a $5 or $6 drink to now a 10, 11, 12 plus dollar drink. So that's the easiest one that I have. And then, other than that, it's your job as a bartender is just to keep an eye on your customers and make sure that they're never out. So you anticipate. I'll go ask people when they're still a quarter, before they're empty. Like, get you another one? Yeah, and then you just keep them going, and they'll more often than not, you'll get them into another drink or two than they were anticipating. And the whole, is there any, and you can use it with anything, is there a rum you prefer? Is there a tequila you prefer? Is there a whiskey you prefer? And they will naturally, because most people don't know, sometimes they go like, nah, just whatever the basic, and you give them the well stuff, right? But they'll usually throw out a name brand or, sometimes the name brand that they know is a top shelf liquor. So that's the easiest one right off the bat. And beyond that, I'll make a video, or I'll reshoot the video that I have in the members area, because I think that one's pretty old anyway, and put it on here for you guys sooner than later, hopefully. Cool. What song or playlist is this? This has just been on Pandora on Bob Moses Radio. Cool. All right. Shit. Now you guys got a bunch of questions on here. All right. Yeah. Cool. Stuart from Big Bang Theory. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for supporting. Thank you from my Patreon people. If you're new, think about subscribing so you get notifications anytime I have new stuff coming out, or it will notify you whenever I start up these live streams. And if you're a longtime viewer and you want to support more, you can go support me on Patreon. You can go to Bartending Blueprint and you can become a member, or you can just tell your friends and spread the word, and that helps a lot. Okay, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for showing up. As far as I know, should be okay to see you next week. I might start moving these back a little bit in time, because I'm in my senior project phase of my life, of my school life, and Tuesdays are looking like one of the days that is going to be most optimal for us to all meet. So I'm not going to stop doing these, but I might slide these back a little bit. I know this is kind of already late for some of you guys, but we might push these back to like 7:38ish. I'm going to try not to. But over the next few weeks, if I'm not right on 7, because I should be doing these the next few weeks, as far as I know, right, on Tuesdays. And if I'm not here at 7, maybe come back and check at 7:30, or even 8. And if I'm not here by 8, then I'll try to figure out another day, or I'll come on for a little bit and tell you guys like, hey, we're gonna move this to Wednesday or something. But I've been doing these for so long, and now you guys know it's Tuesday. I'm gonna try to keep it on Tuesday and try not to move it, but just want to give you a heads up. So as of right now, same time, same Tuesday, 7 o'clock Pacific Coast, West Coast time. And we'll do this again next week. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Love y'all. Appreciate you coming and all the good questions. And I will see you on the next live cast.